Raghuram sir, and my sincere thanks to all the people who have given me this opportunity to be with you all. And whatever I know, I would like to share. And as Raghuram sir was mentioning, not as a boasting, but I would like to say, I am a teacher since 1979. Still, I am continuing. I played as a role of a teacher, and headmistress, principal, and now I'm an education officer. Summer vacation were the only holidays I had. So thank the Almighty for giving me this energy. So with that, I'm not going to go back and talk about the 8 areas of multiple intelligence which have been already explained by our Raghuram sir. As an educationist, how do I use these 8 areas of multiple intelligence? But more than that, I'm going to take these areas of multiple intelligence as a storyteller, because I'm a storyteller by passion. So I'm going to combine both as an educationist and as a storyteller. How do I use this multiple intelligence? Whatever way I could do it. Now, as Raghuram sir, that was my beginning sentence. I wanted to say, anyway, I will repeat that. Everyone possesses these 8 areas of multiple intelligence to some degree. Now, my dear teachers, as you look at each intelligence, think about it, how you could apply it to your classroom. Don't tell me that we have no time to tell the stories. At the end, I will tell you when and where you can introduce the story in your classroom. As a storyteller and as an educationist, let me brief out how do I use the 8 areas of multiple intelligence and how do I promote this multiple intelligence in my audience, in my children. So, the first, the body and the kinesthetic. Now, when I narrate a story, I exhibit various body language, gestures to narrate a story. Now, I just move around on the platform. I do dance. And when I tell a story, when I talk about a tree, I don't say there is a tree in the middle of a garden. I say there is a huge tree in the midst of a garden. So we use, and very simple one, whenever we talk, a simple thing even at home, whether it is with the husband or with our children, we all use body language. We never say, I have kept idli and you go and eat. We say, I have kept idli on the dining table, please go and eat. So we use body language because we believe by adding these various body languages, we are giving more effect to whatever we talk. I think you all agree with me. So my audience, what do they do? How do they do it? This by doing mirroring. When I say something very happy events, they all smile. When I talk about something very bad, either they become so tensed or they become sad. Very happy. I see their mirroring facial expression. And then interpersonal. This is a very, very important area for a storyteller. I get connected with my audience when I tell a story. Now, when I am talking to you, am I not getting connected to you? Yes. So, what I do is, I am able to connect. When I tell the story, I read the facial expression of my audience, and accordingly, either I change the tone or I change the events. I'm able to apply whatever is comfortable for the audience. And what do my audience, what do my audience do it? Now they analyze, discuss the various characters in the story. Why did the character act like this? Why? And sometimes they start appreciating, listening to the story. And when I select the stories from the various regions, when I read it, or when I narrate the stories from various countries, I start appreciating the culture of the other country, and I do inculcate that empathy or that feeling in my audience too. And then comes the intrapersonal. As a storyteller, I create my own characters in the story. And when I create the story, you know what I do? I start imagining and I live as the character. When I talk about the line, I become a line. I just say, wow, a line. Or when I talk about an old lady, and I said there was an old lady, she was walking on the forest. So my audience start thinking which part of the story I can relate to my life. And when I do it, how do I feel it? And how do the events in the story reflect my life? So they start thinking a lot of things that is happening in the story. And then comes the linguistic skill. Without this linguistic skill, I cannot be a teacher or as a storyteller. When I narrate a story or as a teacher, when I deliver my content, I need a good communication skill, right? So my audience, I'm not going to explain more about this. My audience, what do? They rewrite, they retell the story. As a teacher, when I deliver the content, my children answer the questions, whatever I ask. They are able to tell the content, explain in their own language. And sometimes my children, they even look for some new words to describe either the character or the lesson, whatever I teach in the class or I taught in the class. So the next comes the logical thinking. This is very important for me as a storyteller. I have to sequence the events in the story in a proper sense. Otherwise, my story will become meaningless. And in the same way, as an educator, as a teacher, whether I teach biology or a simple science to my class 5 or 4, I have to think first. What should I teach when I'm teaching the adaptation? First, I have to give the definition of the adaptation. Then only I can go to the level of the different adaptation processed by the plants and the animals. So, making the sequential order, thinking logically is very important for every one of us. And then the music. Who doesn't like music? When I tell a story, adding a song or a rhythm, I make my story more interesting. Once upon a time, there was an old lady. She wanted to go to her daughter's house who was living in the top of the mountain. She has to cross a forest. She was so scared. So she started singing, "Arikati, arikati. Here I come on my walking stick. Arikati, arikati. When I sing a song or when I create a rhythm, my audience also start listening, enjoy the music, the rhythm in the story. And when I make this movement, I'm also using my body language, different body language. And next comes the naturalist. As a storyteller, we always, we describe. Of course, as an educationist, as a science teacher, my job is only to teach the life science, plants and animals, human beings. So, as a storyteller, I describe the plants, animals, and express the beauty of the nature. And my audience, they develop appreciating the beauty of the nature. Learn to develop the empathy. And last is the spatial one. Telling a story using a puppet. Like when I tell a story, there was a butterfly. The butterfly was colored, no color. It was white in color. The butterfly was very unhappy because this white color wing. One day, the butterfly saw a beautiful rainbow. It just flew into the rainbow, and when it came out, it just had the colorful wings. So, when I use these puppets or pictures, I am using this last skill, multiple area, multiple intelligence. And my audience, the listeners, they develop the skill. They start drawing and they retell the story using this, whatever they are creating, whether it's a puppet or whether it's a drawing. So, my dear audience, as Raghuram sir correctly said, we all use these 8 areas of multiple intelligence every day, every walk of our life. There is no special training is necessary. And if I tell a teachers, please teachers, tell short stories in your classroom. Make your classroom transaction more interesting, more fun learning. I can hear people telling, oh ma'am, what is this? We have to finish the portion and we have to prepare them for the test. But you can. There is no separate time needed for telling a story, my dear teachers. You can use the story as the introduction of the content, or after completing the lesson, use it as an activity, or at the end, during evaluation, when you are asking the questions. That time, as a reinforcement of the content, please use a story, short stories. The stories build close relationship between you and your children. Now, let me take a privilege of telling a small story. Now, this is a story about Fatima. Fatima, long ago, there lived a girl called Fatima. She lived with her father on the shore of Morocco. Her father was a great spinner, rope. He was making the strongest and finest rope. She learned the technique of making the rope from her father. One day, her father said, Fatima, I want to, take the rope, the cargo rope on the ship and do trading. Fatima said, my dear father, please, let me also come with you. I have learned the technique of making the ropes. Now I want to learn the technique of trading. So both of them sailed islands after island. When they reached the shore of Egypt, there was a wind blew so furiously. They were rocking from one end to another end. Fatima saw her father trying his level best to rescue his cargo. What? Unfortunately, he drowned in the sea. Fatima became helpless. She was just moved on the shore of Alexandria. She was standing alone. She walked on the shore of Alexandria. She came across a community of people who were weaving a cloth that was used by the ship of Alexandria. They welcomed her very happily, treated her very nicely. She learned the technique of weaving the clothes. But suddenly, one day, raiders came. The slave ship came and took her across the islands and took her to Istanbul, where she was put into the market for sale. She was helpless. Why? Why? What is this happening to me? Luckily, a gentleman came. He was the maker of ship masts. He just paid the money and bought Fatima, not as a slave. He told Fatima, please come with me, not as a slave. I want you to be companion for me and my wife. So the gentleman took her to his house. Fatima was very happy. But suddenly, the gentleman, cargo full of ship mast, drowned into the sea. He lost his business. He told Fatima, I'm helpless. I cannot support you anymore. You know what? Fatima said, I'm a good learner. Please teach me how to make this mask. He taught her out of timber how to make these strongest masks. She made lots and lots of ship masks. He became very happy. He told Fatima, I'm so happy. Take the ship. You be my agent and sail this mast across. So she sailed on his ship. She came to India, sold most of her masks. A few leftover masks. She wanted to go to China. So she was sailing again. The wind blew so furiously, worse than what she experienced when she was with her father. She became so, terrified. She was so terrified. She took one of the masks, holding it tightly, became unconscious. When she woke up, she was on the shore of China. During that time, the ruler who was ruling China was a mighty king. One day he called all his people, advisors, the ministers. Yesterday, I had a dream. I dreamt of a palace that can be transported. Can you make such palace? What? Heights that can be transported? The king continued. Yes, in my dream I saw a woman from a distant place. Please go and find that woman. The messengers were sent, and one of the messengers encountered Fatima, took her to the palace. The king said, Fatima, announced the name. Fatima, can you make a palace that can be transported? Fatima, for a few seconds, she just closed her eyes. She remembered the beautiful things, what she saw in Africa, what she saw in Islam. Then immediately she said, asked the king, please get me the rope. They brought the rope, but the rope, when she examined, she found, no, this is not strong enough. So the crop of flax was brought and she started making the rope, and she taught the people how to craft the rope. And then she just remembered the cloth. My dear king, I want a cloth. He brought the cloth, but it was not stout enough. She said, no, 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 no. She asked for the wood, and she built loom. And with that loom, she cloth, and the cloth that had been can be used by the ships, and she taught the technique of weaving that type of a cloth to all the people. And then what come? What is the next one? She was just thinking. Then she remembered, my dear king, I need poles to make the mask they brought. She said, no, cut the timbers, bring it. And she made the strongest mast for the ship. She just finally, she built the beautiful palace. She decorated it for the king to live and invited the king. The king came. Fatima, what a wonderful, amazing thing you have done. This is more than what I dreamt. Wow. Ask me, what do you want? Name it, I will give you. Fatima said, can I ask you one thing? Yes, Fatima, please, name it, what do you want? I lived in so many places, so many houses. I asked. I want to live here permanently. Not for enjoying my life. I'm a good learner. I learned a lot. Whatever I learned, I want to teach people. I want to be here to teach the people. I was expecting something, very costliest thing you're going to ask. But this is more precious. Wow. I appreciate you. Fatima, yes, granted. You be here and teach whatever you have learned to my people. So, my dear people, my dear audience, learning happens all the day, all the time. So the storytelling is the oldest and most powerful teaching and learning method, right? So please, my dear teachers, use stories in your classroom and don't say there is no time. Please, some or other, find the time. When you connect any content with the story, the children remember that content more effectively. It reaches the children. So, and my humble request to the parents, dear parents, please, whenever you go out with your child, look for some prompt. It can be a caterpillar, it can be a small stick, or it can be a moon or a star, or a small door or a window, whatever it is. Tell your children to create a small story of 2 or 3 sentences. The stories are the most important tool that can enhance all these areas of 8 areas of multiple intelligence. Hope you all agree with me, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, Geetha ma'am. What a great moment. What a great moment indeed. And I'm sure we Utsahins have thoroughly enjoyed and are inspired from the session. And I'm sure we are yet to come out of that particular story and the instances what Geetha ma'am has mentioned. And today we have seen all the 8 multiple intelligences personified in you, Mrs. Geetha ma'am.
Thank you.
And the MI series has been a strong reminder for all of us. And let us respect everyone's intelligence. I repeat, let us respect everyone's intelligence and not to point out saying that he or she is dull. Everyone is intelligent, and it's the dominant one that plays the major role. It's a strong reminder for us. And thank you so much, Geetha ma'am. And
Thank you.
please stay back. Please stay back. And
Yes, sir. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.